Welcome out to Revolution tonight. We're going to continue our series looking through the 190 variations in Scrivener, in Scrivener's 1881 Textus Receptus compared to Beza's 1598 when we take into consideration the choices of the 1611 Authorized Version translators. And so what we're looking at here is we're up to Mark chapter 4, verse 18. And so we have an omission. So this is an omission by Scrivener. So I'll enlarge this a little bit so you can see down the side of the page. And then I'll put it back to its original size so we can look at the pictures. And so here we have Scrivener omits these words. Okay. So this is what Beza has. And so if when I've got not yet sure, that just means I haven't had time to, look these up. I could easily, spend half an hour going through all these. But most of the time, that's when I find it's unnecessary. I don't usually rush to do that because it is a lot of work to do that for each verse. And we see here in Beza anyway, he basically says that it appears in all of Beza's editions. And so here it also appears in Stephanus, and it's also in the Complutensian Polyglot as well. So basically it's like it's in everything. And so what is wrong here? And so this is actually a very easy one to point out. And this will show you the type of issue that we've been looking at. And so this translates basically as such. And so what's quite interesting is that when we look at Scrivener's decision here to say that these words need to be omitted, it makes you wonder what was going through Scrivener's mind. It makes you wonder, whether Scrivener knows the Greek language as well as is claimed, and also knows the English language as well as is claimed. And so so here we have oti esin eton logon. And so it's basically such as. So these are the words that, or these are, that's how it would turn out to be. So esin is very similar to estin, is, but it's usually without the tail there. And so esin is basically translated as are. So let's have a look and see what Scrivener has. So we'll look at the first picture here. So I'll just open that up. And we can see here. So this is chapter 4, verse 18, eton logon. So that's the Complutensian Polyglot. Okay, so that's interesting. And then it has oti esin eton logon. That's in Beza and all editions. So all the editions have that. And so let's have a look at where that is on the page. So if we were to get the original Textus Receptus of Scrivener, he's 1881. That was compiled in 1880. And we were to go to the back of the book, he has an appendix. This is different to Mark Ward's Appendix E. That's just some other list. This is the real list that he needs to look at. But, Mark's not that clued up on what's really going on. So here we see that same thing here. So it's just the list under Mark, chapter 4, verse 18. So just to show you where we're at. So we've got quite a few to go in Mark. Some of them are the same, beside. Just like an amen is missing, Nazareth. And look, Nazareth to Nazareth. It's hardly anything. And so these are the differences in the TR, and all this sort of stuff. And people make a lot of ado about this. And so here is the text of the 1598 of Beza on my website. And so what's interesting is the Oti Esin Iton Logon, the Oti Esin appears in the verse at the beginning of the verse as well. Okay, so this is quite interesting. And so in the King James, it translates, and these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word. Okay, so in my edition, it has, now these are the ones sown among thorns, those who hear the word. So it's quite simple. I'll just close that down. So let's have a look at, I'll shut that one down too. Let's have a look at Scrivener's text, and we'll just make sure that we're looking at everything correctly here. So let's open this picture up. And so remember that if you see a bowl in Scrivener's Textus Receptus, the original one, this is the one that Peter Montoro said it's dishonest not to have all this information like these numbers here and things like that. But what it was, the Textus Receptus was designed to show you in 1881, it was designed to show you where the Westcott and Hort text departed from the TR. So, I mean, who wants to know that? I don't really want to know all that. So, you know, he'll have like 19. So this word becomes something else. The tutu becomes something else. So that's number 22. The E, or that is there after the comma. Sorry, before the comma. It should really be after the comma. But he's got a 20 there as well. So that shows it's an omission in the Westcott and Hort text as well. And the tests, and so, or actually, it's a contest, and so that's such as here. So it's to do with the hearing, akuo. So that's 21. So they're the ones that deal with the Westcott and Hort text. But what we're looking at is just the differences between the text of Beza and, or basically between, the text of Beza and Scrivener's 1881, according to what the King James translators chose. And so here we have the asterisk. So the asterisk points to that it's an omission. Okay, so he's omitted some words here. So these are these words here. So let's have a look at, I'll show you firstly that exactly where that is in Scrivener. So it's exactly the same picture, but as you can see down the bottom, so the Oti there, number 19, is replaced by alloy. And the 20, so that's what we're dealing with, adds Oti Esin. And so that's the one that we're dealing with. Well, actually, it's a number 20 there. So it's actually Westcott and Hort text actually adds that in. So it's quite kind of strange. It's like, okay, well, Westcott and Hort add that in, but then that asterisk basically points to what I had up before, which is this one here in Scrivener's. So it basically just points to that in his appendix. And so saying that he's amended Beza's text and he's chopped out these two words. Okay. So why would he do that? Well, let's firstly, so we've looked at Scrivener's. Let's look at Beza. Let's see what Beza's got. Oti Esin Iton Logon. And so it has those extra words in it. So they're the ones that are taken out here where the asterisk is. And it's interesting that it's actually in the Westcott and Hort text because it says it adds those in. So this is sort of like a double issue. And it's a place where the Textus Receptus and Westcott and Hort, the Textus Receptus of Beza and Westcott and Hort are in agreement, but Scrivener feels like it's the King James translators didn't have it in there. So I'll show you that that's just ridiculous in a minute. But the good thing is when we're going through the text of Beza, and oftentimes I'm repeating myself in these. Sometimes I don't think I've done one of these for about a month, so sometimes I might repeat myself a little bit. So sorry about that. But you can check with the Latin there, and so you can have a look and see what he's got in the Latin. And so this is Beza's own Latin translation. So this is the go-to text if you want to know what's happening with the King James, how it was translated. Well, you go to the Greek first, and then you look at how it was translated in the Latin. And so then he's got the Vulgate there. So that's the difference. So then down the bottom, he also has verse 18. And so he has the first one, Ki oti esin. And so then he talks about that. But then he talks about oti esin. So that's the second time that appears in that verse. And then he talks about it. So this sort of you can compare these type of notes as well, because sometimes there are print errors, and I've found some of these, and actually Scrivener's made some amendments to his text according to print errors, which is a bit of a shame, but that's just where he was at. And most of these are just completely irrelevant and almost untranslatable. But I'm pretty sure if you actually got this text into the modern Bibles, say a TR Bible, you would probably get a difference. And so I'm going to have a quick look at that, because the difference is these two words basically add up to the words these are. And so in the King James, because it already has the ki oti esin at the beginning here, so and these are, here where it has these are, they've just made that the word such or such as. And so so as we can see here, such as hear the word. And so let's have a look at some of the other Bible texts. So here we can see, I'll just enlarge in this. So we can see the text of Westcott and Hort has oti esin eton logon, and so it has the words in there exactly like the TR. It's dropped out of the majority text, which is interesting, and the Greek Orthodox text, but it's in Tischendorf's, and Scrivener drops it out, but Stephanus has it, and Theodore Beza has it. So it's like, well, what's going on here? Why did Scrivener leave this out? And what does the King James actually say? So let's have a look. Okay, so I've basically just shown you these pictures here. They're just screenshots of what I showed you in Beza's text here, just so anyone doing this study, you don't have to rehash everything. You can go through and the work's already been done there. Oops. Oh, yeah, that's fine. And so let's have a look at the King James. Let's read exactly what it says. And these are, so they're the words that the first time those words appear. These are they which are sown among thorns. And then it has such as hear the word of God. So it's basically the exact same words as these are. So you could word it, and these are they which are sown among thorns. These are they which hear the word of God. But instead of just repeating what they've got there, they have, such as. And so the King James uses this type of terminology. It might have in Matthew 24, this has just come to me, hoping that it's correct. Matthew 24, KJV. around about verse 13 or 14, I think it is. Okay, yeah, the same. So it's sort of like, he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So it's obviously talking about the same people here. So when we're looking at this text, so obviously it's talking about the such as are basically talking about the people beforehand. And so it's quite simple. It's very basic. It's not complicated. Okay, so let's have a look at how this is translated. Wycliffe has these it been, or these it be, or being, or ben. Tyndale has and such as he ye word. And so ye sometimes used to be like another word for the. Tyndale again, and such as hear ye word. Matthew's Bible, 1537, and such as hear the word. The Great Bible, 1539, and such as hear the word. So notice these guys have got such as, it's no problem there. And if all the other earlier TRs are pretty much the same, it's like, well, why is there a change? Why is Scrivener saying that it can't be translated like that? And he's omitting those words. 1560, and such as hear the word. And so I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same as the King James. Yep, so, King James up here, such as hear the word. And the bishop says, and those, I say, are such as hear the word. And so it's a little bit longer. It's a bit more sort of like an amplified type of thing. So clearly, such as is synonymous with these are they. Okay. So Scrivener made the unnecessary omission of oti essen. So let's have a look at this. This picture, I just made this last night. So what's interesting is around this verse, this oti essen appears quite a few times. And so what I did is I might just make that a bit smaller. There we go. So we can fit the whole thing in. So verse 16, it's translated as these are they. Okay. Verse 18, what we're looking at, these are they. Then the next time, oti essen is such. Okay. Then verse 20, oti essen, these are they. So obviously, you know, Scrivener's looking around going, oh, such. Instead of saying, okay, such is synonymous with these are they because it appears in the same verse. Like, just listen to the verse. It says, and these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches. So it's not like it's a different group. It's the same group. So he's talking about these people, and that's why he used the word such. So it's going to be interesting because the Westcott and Hort text is the same. And I'm pretty sure the Nestle-Aland text, the Nestle-Aland text, so modern Bibles will have this. So it'll be interesting to see what the New King James does, because it's actually Scrivener's text is departing from the Westcott and Hort and from the Textus Receptus. So it's quite interesting. Okay, so here we have the NIV. So still others, like seeds sown among thorns, hear the word. I think that it looks like it's deleted there. It's not like these are they that hear the word. You know, it doesn't seem to have that. So the NIV could be following, who knows what it's following, really. They sort of made things up as they went, and then they redid a Greek text later. New Living Translation, the seed that fell among the thorns represents others who hear the word, such as English Standard Version, and others are the ones sown among thorns. These are those. So yes, it's following faithfully the text there in the ESV. Here it has they, or these are those, or such as, hear the word. So yeah, we can go through all those editions, but what we're really concerned about is the Textus Receptus. So here we have such as, hear the word. But then we have the New King James. Now, these are the ones sown among thorns. Look, they are is in italics. So really what they're saying is it should be just the ones who hear the word. So they are, because Scrivener took those words out. Why did Scrivener take those words out? It's clearly in the Beza's text, okay? It's clearly in pretty much all the TR editions. And it's, when you go through it and you can compare it, I mean, such as here the word, obviously such is equivalent to these are they. If I said, you know, these are they who have blue hair, such as, you know, use certain products to make their hair that type of color. You know, even in modern English, you can use that. It's not a complex thing to think about. And so I'll just jump back to my page here. So basically, yeah, I'll read this again. Clearly, such as is synonymous with these are they. Scrivener made the unnecessary omission of oti esin. And so hopefully you can see that very clearly. I'm just thinking what else I could say here. So I might just add a little bit of information, just a tiny bit of textual information. So this doesn't have a huge amount to do with the difference between, you know, the text of Scrivener, Beza, and, you know, comparing the 1611. But it's just a little bit of verse documentation, I guess. And see, these type of verses make me wonder what Scrivener was doing. Why did he change that? And even the Westcott and Hort agrees with the TR here. But he's seen the word such as, and he's like, well, that doesn't equal these are they. And I just can't see how he can equate that. I mean, it's like he's just gone through and expected every time that they have the words oti esin, that they're going to be these are they, and that you can't depart from that. But no, you can summarize things. You can make things in English. If it's understandable, then it's a translation. It's just the way it is. So inside the closed class of Greek and Latin New Testament sources for the Textus Receptus' Greek, oti, these, and esin, are they. So this is the second part of the verse. So we see ice, among, which is a preposition plus an accusative. And so then we're looking at the ones or such. So this is the authorized version component, ton logon, akuantes, or hearing, as hear. So this is the masculine nominative plural active present participle of akuo. And then in the wider words, and these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word. So this is a majority Byzantine text reading. And so, for example, codices A, 02, 5th century, Sigma 042, late 5th to 6th century, K017, 9th century, M021, 9th century, U030, 9th century, P041, 9th century, minuscule 2, 12th century. It is further supported as Latin he, these, and sunt, they are. So let's just have a quick look at Beza, what he has. So the sunt, so it has he, sunt. Okay. So here it has he, sunt. So notice the italic here in QUAM. I'll just quickly look that up. QUAM. Latin dictionary. to say. Okay, so it's really showing that just means to say. So it's really nothing to do. These like such as, that such as is he sunt. So it's here he sunt at the beginning, and it's here he sunt in the middle. And so these both are representative of oti esin, which we have here and here. And so, and also, like I was pointing out, oti esin in verse 16, which is sunt here, and I think it was verse 20, oti esin he sunt. So there we go. So supported by the Latin he sunt, he is these, and sunt they are. In the old Latin versions, F in the 6th century and Q 6th, 7th century, as Latin in, among, which is a preposition plus an ablative. In the old Latin versions, and so we also see qui. So these are translations. So when we're looking at the Latin, many times it can be translated in different ways, just like we have. I just showed you a bunch of English translations, and they basically say the same thing, but sometimes they use different words. So obviously what we stick to with the Textus Receptus are the words in the Greek. And that's why when we look at the Latin, sometimes there can be variants, but it's saying exactly the same thing. Just like, something synonymous, you might have like the New King James and the Old King James side by side, but they're actually saying exactly the same thing. And so, but there's different words. And so that's the same when you're looking at the Latin. So the Latin qui, which means which, verbum, the word, audiunt, they hear, indicative, active, present, third person plural verb from audio. And so, so we're looking at the old Latin versions of F, the 6th century and the 7th century. So there's no good textual argument against the majority Byzantine text here at all. There's no good textual argument against what the TR has. And for Scrivener to remove this, it just shows that he must have thought that such as wasn't synonymous with these are. And so to me, this is just an unnecessary change. And so, and I think you can see that clearly too with our little picture here, where clearly it's in the same verse, and so we have the semicolon. So we've got, and these are they which are sown among thorns, and then it's creating a new sentence here almost. You could almost put a full stop there. Such as, and so such as hear the word, and the cares of the world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it become unfruitful. And then it's again, and these are they, which are sown on good ground. And so then it's pointing forward to these other things. And so I think such as hear the word, it makes it very clear. It's pointing back to these words, these are they, where this one, these are they, it's pointing forward to these other ones. The ones who hear the word, receive it, and bring forth, some 30, some 60, some 100. So hopefully that helps you. And I'll just check the stream, and we'll just have a quick look at that. I'm not sure if anyone's commenting or anything. I'm going to be shutting this down pretty much straight away. But this is just another one of Scrivener's unnecessary changes in his text. And so, when I hold this up and say, okay, well, this is the Textus Receptus, this is the closest thing we've got to the authorized version. Because we will find places where Scrivener did change things. There's about, like I've always said, there's about 20 translatable differences between Theodore Beza's 1598 and the King James, which is really splitting hairs. splitting like 20 translatable differences. It's hardly anything. So the King James translators did create their own Greek text, but it didn't get printed. And Scrivener, 250 years later, he did this, but he didn't do an absolutely perfect job. And so that's why I'm going through these. And so hopefully this has helped you. Hello, follow in truth, LJ. I'm going to pack this up and I'm going to start a different video. So I'm going to start one going through the Textual Confidence Collective. And so God bless you guys. And maybe I'll see you there, maybe in about 10 minutes.